All right. Good afternoon, everyone. As I said before, my name is Brian Smith. I am the State Relationship Manager for GED Testing Service for Texas. Thanks so much for joining our update. This has been a really exciting time for GED Testing Service with a lot of changes going on and a lot of new tools and items to discuss that I thought it was a great time to sort of make sure you all were updated on the latest information about the GED test. So this is a call specifically for adult educators and testing administrators in Texas. Just going to go over some housekeeping issues before I jump into the presentation. The way we're going to handle questions, we will have time to answer questions at the end. If you could just submit your questions on the control panel, there's a section to be able to submit questions. We will go through them all at the end. So you can submit them at any time. We will answer them. All of your phone lines are muted, and they will not be unmuted for you to ask questions. So you'll have to submit a question via the chat feature. Fortunately, we have a lot of people on this call, and it just becomes tough to manage if the lines are open. So all the lines are muted. We will send around the slides later. They are not available for download right now, but we will email you all probably tomorrow with the slides and also with recording of this. So we are recording this, so if you do have colleagues who couldn't join, you can pass the recording along to them. I also wanted to mention that Cindy Tonneson from Texas Education Agency is also on this call. She's been kind enough to join us to answer any questions that are state-specific, if you do have them that I can't answer. That's more of an administrative question. She's here to field those questions. So I appreciate Cindy taking the time to join us. All right, with that said, let's jump into it. As I said again, my name is Brian Smith. I am the State Relationship Manager, so I am your contact here for Texas. So if you do have issues, my contact information is going to be at the end of this presentation. You should feel free to reach out to me. I am your resource here for Texas with GED Testing Service. So anything you might need from GED Testing Service, you can feel free to reach out to me. Any questions or concerns or any issues you ever had, I want you to know that you do have a resource. I'm here to help you. I see a lot of familiar names on the attendee list of people I've met at conferences or visiting your programs, and a lot of people who I'm hoping to visit soon. So it's great to see some familiar names, and I look forward to working with you all in the future. So my agenda for today is I want to do an overview of the cut score changes. I think most of you all will be familiar with it, but I did want to just go over why we made the changes. Those are probably the most significant changes we have right now. I'll give you a little update on how things are going in 2016. It's a pretty exciting time as numbers are up pretty dramatically in 2016 over 2015. We'll then talk about new GED initiatives we have, some new tools, some new initiatives that we're really excited about. And then we'll talk a little bit about our research agenda that we have and really proving our success. The changes in WIOA, everyone's focused on making sure we have better outcomes and that our students are not just passing the test, but getting to a job and staying in a job. We'll talk about how the GED program's really set up to do that and show you what we're going to be doing in the future to really measure our success. And then, as I said before, we will have time for question and answer at the end. And again, just submit your questions via the control panel, and we will go through them all at the end. So an update on the GED test and recalibrating the GED test scores. So GED Testing Service is very data-driven. Everything we do because we have data to back it up. We created our tests that way. Moving to computer-based testing allows us access to so much more data, and so we've always made decisions based on that. If you recall, we made the initial change to add more time right at the beginning of the new test series to math. We did that based on the data we had, and we knew that we needed to add a little more time. So we're always making data decisions, but always monitoring that data to make sure that we understand what's going on. And we'll continue to do that. You have that commitment from us that because we have computer-based testing, we have access to this data in real time, and we continue to monitor things closely and make changes as needed. So why now? Why do we make the change at the beginning of this year to the new cut scores? Well, one of the reasons why is that we now finally actually had data to really support a change. So we were able to assess adult learners' knowledge across the entire spectrum of a typical graduating high school class. So in any typical graduating high school class, you have those that are just meeting the basic requirements, those that are demonstrating college readiness, and those that are earning credits during high school. So we looked at the full picture of graduates, and we were able to make a change based on that. So what are the new performance levels? I think you all are probably familiar with this by now, but just to go through them. So we did adjust the 150 passing score to 145. The new GED CollegeReady, which used to be called GED with Honors, we were able to adjust that down to 165. And again, this was all based on data that we've seen. And then we're really excited, and one of the really great benefits of the GED program is this new GED CollegeReady Plus credit, where students who score 175 per subject are eligible to potentially earn college credit. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So we were able to make these changes again on extensive analysis that we were based on how the GED program was working. So the new passing score of 145 is generally the biggest news, I think, and that was allowing us to be more reflective of the current graduating high school class. So, if you want to think about it, whereas you had to get a C in order to pass the GED test, like a typical GED or a high school grad would have a C, maybe now it's a C minus. But based on the data, we knew we were able to lower this because we wanted to be more inclusive of the typical graduating high school senior. We also know that we were able to adjust it because of we know that more GED grads are attending post-secondary education than ever before, and we did this through a national data map. So we had that data to be able to make a decision on. And then we also were getting data from several states. Almost every program I talked to has sort of anecdotal data of how students who are passing the GED test were much more prepared than the old tests, that they were going right into credit-bearing courses if they're going to post-secondary education, that they were doing really well in job training programs if that was the route they were going to, that they were really prepared for that next step. We were hearing that anecdotally everywhere, and now we started to get some hard data from the states on how GED grads were doing. To give you a sense of what some of that data was, this is from the state of Oregon. So Oregon, they track through their Higher Ed Coordinating Commission how GED grads are doing when they enroll in the community college and how high school grads are doing. And what we were seeing is that GED grads were in fact doing much better than high school grads. So you can see those circled numbers. This graph shows those students who got placed into remediation classes versus those that were just going right into credit-bearing classes. So you see only about 15% there of GED grads are getting placed into remedial education, whereas almost 50% of recent high school grads were actually getting placed in remediation. So this was really showing us that GED grads were doing much better than high school grads. This is, one of the things that we really set out to do in changing the test, was making sure that fewer GED grads got placed in remediation or remedial classes, because we saw when they did, they didn't have a high success rate of actually getting through. That we really wanted to get them in the credit-bearing courses, that we wanted to level the playing field for GED grads so they could compete with regular high school grads. So this was exciting to see. But it also showed us, right, that maybe we were not being as inclusive as we could be for GED grads. So this is the type of data that we looked at that allowed us to make the adjustment for the cut scores. So obviously the impact, this was retroactive, so many adults who had tested since the beginning of the test in January 1st, 2014 became eligible for a GED credential. I will say that nothing changed about the test. It's still the same types of questions. The test still remains fully aligned with state college and career readiness standards, still measuring critical thinking, problem-solving skills that are so important to jobs and further training and education. And I think that number that you saw from Oregon really demonstrates that we've really honed in on the right skills, that those who are passing the GED test have the right skills, and that they, even a lot of those students who were below the college ready mark were actually still getting placed into credit-bearing courses because they had the right skills and they were able to perform well. So that showed us that we did what we needed to do, that we needed to level the playing field, give our test takers the best shot that they could at achieving success after they passed the GED test. But now we want to also be more inclusive and reach more people who could benefit from the credential. And I think that's what we're seeing happening in 2016 is a lot more people are coming back in and testing. Hopefully you all are seeing that in your programs. But they're still testing on the same problems that we had with the old GED test. We didn't change any of that. We just changed the actual cut score. So again, the scores represent a broader range of skills and ability. So normally the GED test historically has been calibrated and normed at about 60% of high school grads would pass, 40% would not. That's how we've always historically done it. So with this cut score, it's moved in the range of more 70-30. That 70% of high school graduates can pass it, 30% not. But again, our test is fully aligned with those problem-solving skills, critical thinking skills that employers say are so important, that colleges say are so important, and which we've seen in the data are so important. So I wanted to let you know about performance standards. We have put the performance level descriptors updated with the new 145 cut score. I hope you all use the performance level descriptors. These are the items of everything that are on the test. So it really goes through, these are the skills that you need to know to be able to pass the GED test. Hopefully that you all are using them. If you've downloaded the new performance level descriptors. If you have not, I please hope that you will after this call, because they are really helpful and they can really sort of drive instruction in the classroom to make sure you understand what students need to know to be successful on the GED test. I did want to talk quickly about the GED CollegeReady and the GED CollegeReady Plus credit. So these are the two additional levels that we have, which I think are really game changers for our students. Really, give them a sense of what it means to be college ready, and also gives them a sense to earn credit. So this is really exciting, and I know we're the only program I think that has these recommendations now. So the two additional passing levels are the GED CollegeReady, which is the score of 165. This came from the ACE credit recommendation, and I'll talk a little bit in a second about what that program is. Their recommendation was that students who get 165 per subject or higher should be able provide them an opportunity to bypass developmental education and placement exams. So they should be able to go directly in to credit-bearing courses and not to take placement exams. Obviously, we need to get the states on board, and we need to get the colleges on board with that. But the first step was actually getting this recommendation from a well-known group that sort of evaluated this. The other recommendation, still just the recommendation level, is this GED CollegeReady Plus credit. So the ACE credit program came back with a recommendation that students who are scoring 175 or above, that they are actually doing college level work, and they should be eligible for up to 10 college credit hours. So that's per subject. So it's 3 for math, 3 for social studies, 3 for science, and 1 for English humanities. And the reason why that is only 1 is because there just is not enough writing on the GED test for them to give 3 credits, which I think you can understand that given the time restraints we have with the test. So that's the ACE credit recommendation for the CollegeReady Plus credit. So let's talk a little bit about what this ACE credit recommendation is. So the American Council on Education, a nonprofit in Washington, D.C., who represents higher education interests, they have a program where they review credit services and they assign credit. So they do this they assist students in assessing academic credit for non-traditional forms of training. They do a lot of that for the military. They review the content to determine equivalency, and they provide recommendations to their member organizations, which are all colleges and universities. And so what they do is they get an independent group of professors who really evaluate it, and that's what they've done. They've gone through the GED test and really evaluated what it is we're measuring and how that would translate into college credit or the bypassing placement exams. So ACE's College and Credit Recommendation Service has been in existence for more than 30 years, work with literally thousands of institutions. If you go to their credit page, you can see a list of there's tons of colleges, universities within Texas who already accept a lot of their credit recommendations. Among the examinations that credit has evaluated, they've done the AP tests, they've done college level proficiency, the CLEP tests, the ACT, Career Readiness Certificate, language proficiency test offered by the Foreign Service Institute, Defense Language Institute, and certifications offered by Microsoft. So they've done a lot of well-known evaluations of programs and then provided credit recommendations based on them. And the GED is just the newest one that they've provided. So the way students would earn credit when an institution accepts it, and that's part of what we're doing now. Now that we've got the actual recommendation, we're talking with colleges, universities to make sure they know about this and hopefully implement it within their system. But the student would download a transcript from ACE. They would provide that transcript to the college, and the college then makes the final determination on, if they accept that or what they would or if they would award credit. So that's how it would work. As I said before, it's still at the recommendation phase. Some colleges and university systems throughout the country have implemented the 165, the CollegeReady. There's a large group in a community college system in Phoenix. A bunch of others in other places throughout the country have. But we still need to do some work in Texas to get them familiar with that, and we'll be doing that over the next year or so. So the other big change that I'll touch on briefly, which I think a lot of people were really happy about, was the contest area change in social studies. So we said goodbye to the extended response question in social studies. And so the reason why we were able to do that is, and that took place as of March 1st, what we were seeing with the social studies extended response was that it was extremely highly correlated with performance on the RLA, the Reasoning Through Language Arts Extended Response. And it didn't provide sufficient additional measurement information. So we weren't learning anything new about the students with this extended response, and so that's why we were able to eliminate it. So that saves the students now 20 minutes in testing. However, it does not impact the college readiness or the college credit performance levels. So that those did not change with the elimination of the social studies extended response. So finally, these enhancements are a positive step. And I think you all, I'm sure I've talked with a bunch of programs throughout Texas. Generally, the sentiment has been overwhelmingly positive. I'm hearing that your programs are doing a lot better, more people are passing, students have more confidence, instructors are less anxious because of these cut score changes. So they're a good step for everyone. Please, if you have questions, this is the website to get more information about the score changes. Lots of FAQs there that'll answer any of your questions. Obviously, my information at the end, you can reach out to me if you do have additional questions. Or if you have questions about those that we can answer today, just, again, put them in the questions tab on the control panel, and we will answer them at the end of this presentation. So if you do have more questions about them, I'm sure there will be some around this. I'm happy to answer those questions at the end of the presentation, at the end of this call. So now let's jump into how things are going in the GED testing program results, looking at how things have been going in 2016. So as I've been sort of alluding to, we've seen really positive results since we've announced the cut score changes. So nationally, so far, just from January 1st to April 20th, looking at testing in 2015 versus 2016, we've seen a year-over-year increase of 22%. It's really incredible. And in Texas, it's actually even a little higher. It looks like it's about 24% on computer-based testing if you look over the year-over-year numbers just from January to yesterday when I ran them. That's incredible that we're seeing that. I'm hopefully you all are seeing that in your programs, that more people are coming back in, and this has been a really exciting time for us. There have been nationally, when we made the cut score changes, about almost 29,000 test takers went from not passing to passing. That was over 3,000 in Texas who, with the new cut score changes, now have a passing score, so that was great to see. I know you all are lucky to have great leadership at TEA. They were great at getting those diplomas and transcripts out immediately. to all the test takers impacted by that. So that was great to see. So this was, just a really exciting time that a lot of people who didn't think they had it all of a sudden have it, and I think it's really encouraged a lot of people to come back in or to decide now is the time to start preparing for the GED test. I want to also talk about, just to give you a sense of how things are going, some other stats. So with the cut score changes, the national pass rate's now at 80%. It was at 78 for a while. I think it's at 80 now. Goes back and forth, but it has gone up, obviously, since we made the cut score. And then the Texas pass rate also has gone up, and it's around 75%. I think it's around, where you all were relative to the national pass rate before that, too. And that's just for computer-based testing. So I just want to give you a sense of, how many people, when we talk about this college-ready level and the college-ready plus credit, how many students are actually in that level. So nationally, we see about 12% of people get that college-ready level, 165 or above. In RLA, 11% in social studies, 10% in science, 6% in math. It's probably not shocking to many of you who are instructors and you see your students, how they're doing. Then the college-ready plus credit. RLA is the highest at 3%, 2% for social studies and math. Sometimes I see social studies was up to 2 or 3 or 4 earlier when I checked, and then I think it's 2% for science. So people are getting there. It's not a huge number, but those are still significant numbers given the amount of people we're testing. And these are really exciting programs that we have because I think they're really going to help a lot of students who are looking to go to post-secondary education. This can be a way of motivating them or giving them that nudge they need if they know that they don't have to take a placement exam, or if they know they actually have credit already waiting for them potentially. So some other updates of how things are going that I want you all to be aware of that are pretty important. I want to talk about our publisher program. We did sort of raise the bar on the content. We wanted to make sure that all of our publishers, we've partnered with 16 to 20 publishers who are putting materials out for the GED tests based on the GED new blueprint, and they have now all decided to go through a third-party independent review to make sure that their content is 100% aligned with the GED test. And that was because I kept hearing from you all throughout the field saying, we have limited resources. We want to spend them on publishers that are doing the best material. Tell me which one's the best. And we really didn't know that, and I didn't want to push you one way or the other. So what we did is saying, if they're saying they're fully aligned, they should have to prove that they're fully aligned and go through a third-party group to really verify that they're fully aligned to the GED test. And that's what they've done. So if you go to our website there, gedtestingservice.com/publishers, you will see all the publishers who have already gotten aligned. They're fully 100% aligned. You'll see the others that are going through that process. Most all of our publishers were excited about this. They wanted to prove that they were fully aligned to the test. So this has been something that we wanted to make sure, we wanted to do right by you all, that if we were saying that they were aligned to us, we wanted to make sure they really were. So obviously there's no financial arrangement with us and them. This was, they went through a third-party group to do this, and we just wanted to make sure that you all felt comfortable with the materials you were buying. The other big and really exciting tool that I want to talk about is that I know we've had it out there for a while now, actually, but I know based on my visits to programs that most people aren't really taking advantage of it or using it. And it just seems like instructors and test takers don't know about it. And it's called PathSource, and it's our new Career Pathways resource for GED students. So this is a free tool for students, for GED students, through GED.com. And this is a tool that's going to give students guidance on the different career options that are available for them, and really allow them to explore different career options in more depth. It's going to help motivate them and really let them see what they could potentially get after they pass the GED test. If you've heard us speak from the beginning, you know that GED Testing Service is focused on outcomes and about improving the lives of our test takers and making sure they're set up for success after the GED test. That what's so critical is not only making sure that they can get to that credential, but really helping them get to that next step, whether it's a good paying job, a job training program, enrolling in a community college, that they're able to achieve their dreams and that they have the right skills to be able to do that. And I think seeing the potential careers that are out there will really help motivate students. I think it will open their eyes. As you all probably know, a lot of GED test takers don't really think about what's next until they pass the GED test, and then they'll think about what's next. But we really want to get them thinking early on about, getting a good job and getting to where they need to be. Because as you all are probably familiar, the world sort of changed now with the new WIOA, that it's no longer federal funding is going to be tied to outcomes, and it's going to be tied to, does a student have a job 6 months later or a year later, or are they enrolled in post-secondary education 6 months or a year later? That's what funding is going to be tied to. So this is so crucial that we make sure that we're connecting our students to these good paying jobs and to post-secondary education, because that's what we're all going to be held accountable for in this new WIOA world. So and that's another great advantage of this program. It's going to really help students get to where they need to be. So if you're not familiar with where it is, this is what it looks like. So your homework after this will be to, I think most of adult educators have access to your own GED.com account. If you don't, I want you to also do this with your students. But what you'll see there on the screen, see that the dashboard up at the top, there's the College and Careers tab, and this is exactly what the dashboard looks like on their GED.com account. And so what you do is you'll pull up your account, click on that College and Careers tab, and there's a big button right there that'll say Path Source. Click on that, and this is the screen that you will get. So I hope all of you after this will go explore it yourself, and I hope that you will take the time to point it out to your students so that they can start using it. It's a free tool. Everyone has access to it. Doesn't cost anything. And you'll see here what they can do is they can take a short career assessment based on their likes and dislikes. We'll give them a whole list of jobs that might be right for them. So this Path Source has over 3,000 videos. So these are YouTube videos. They're short, like 2-3 minutes, but these are real people in these jobs talking about what it means to be a welder, what it means to be a dental assistant, what it means to be a nurse, what it means to be an HVAC technician, and they explain how they got there. A lot of times they'll talk about what it pays, what they did after they got their high school diploma, what additional education they needed. And they're really informative and really helps sort of open the eyes of students of the types of jobs that are out there. Because I think too often our adult learners don't know of all the stuff that's out there that they might be eligible for once they pass the GED test. And and usually it's going to require a little more training after that, but they can be on their way to a career and not just a job, something that will be a family-sustaining job that will be able to support their family in a good-paying job. So they were able to create their own path there, and they can save careers and videos based on what they're interested in. So it's a really exciting tool. I know that the instructors that I've talked to who've used it, they did it themselves and they found it really interesting. This is another screenshot. So you see there's different career clusters and pathways all that students can sort of engage in. It's a great tool that really gets them thinking about what's next and starts connecting them to where do they go after they pass the GED test. We know that students who engaged in this, adult learners who engage in this process, this thought process earlier, are going to be much better prepared for that transition once they pass the GED test. So it's a great tool. I hope you all will take advantage of it. We're really excited about it. And you should know that in the future, this is just the start. In the future, we really want to build this out and to be able to connect and show, based on regions, the types of jobs that are available. So students who live in Houston can see the jobs that are available there, and we can provide those that are living in El Paso. These are the industries that are more prevalent there. So really make it regional and really help connect students to those good jobs with good paying wages. And that's, again, all of these new tools that we're focused on are ways to improve outcomes, because that's what's so important now, making sure that our students not only just pass the test, but they get to a better job, or they change their lives by going to college and getting to where they need to be. So the other new program initiative that I want you all to be aware of is the GED Works initiative that we have. This is our employer program, and we're really excited about it. So GED Works is a program designed for employers to pay for their employees who don't have their GED credential. It's an all-inclusive program that gives students the tools they need to pass the test. It's available nationally. The founding employers are Taco Bell, Walmart, KFC through the KFC Foundation, and Southeastern Grocers, which I don't think is in Texas, but they have brands such as Bilo, Winn-Dixie, and Harvey's. So these are just the initial 4 that we started with. They came to the GED testing service because of our GED program and what we're doing with it, and the outcomes we are getting. That's why they came to us, and they really wanted to find a way to invest in their employees, to help them, their employees who don't have a GED credential, earn their GED credential. So the benefits for the employers, it's an all-inclusive program for them with a set price. It includes unlimited access to prep materials and a student test pass guarantee, so students can keep testing until they pass, and the employer is going to pay for it. Obviously, with national footprint and integrated student reporting. And obviously, this for them is a strong recruitment and retention benefit. They'll benefit from being able to promote people. They'll be able to promote GED grads, people that they might not have promoted before. So it's really sort of a win-win for everyone involved. The benefits for the students are pretty obvious, right? They get access to unlimited prep materials and testing. They get access to a GED advisor to monitor and guide them. And these are staff that GED Testing Service have hired. These are former adult educators that we've hired who are really coaching these students through. So they're not teachers, and they're not going to teach them over the phone or over email, but they're there to check in with the students each week, really advise them, coach them how to get through it. They're texting them and encouraging them and monitoring to see if they've studied and answering any questions they might have about the process. And they're really that resource that the student can lean on to really help better understand this process and get through with it. It's a test pass guarantee, so they're guaranteed as long as they're doing their studying, they're guaranteed to pass the GED test. We'll keep paying for it until they pass it. They get access to a digital or print curriculum, both available both in Spanish and in English. National footprint of over 3,000 testing centers, and what's great is that we can still leverage adult education programs. And so what we're doing, we've tapped into a whole new resource of students who were probably working full-time at Walmart and didn't think about getting their GED credential, and now that they're doing it, they realize, I can't do this on my own. I need an instructor. And what we're going to be doing, and we've gotten a list of ABE programs in the state, is we're going to be able to, those that are doing GED prep, we're going to be able to send them students from Walmart, KFC, and the additional employers that we sign on, and say, you live in the Dallas area. Here are the testing centers in your area. Here's the closest one to you, and send you students. So if you haven't already, I think in the future you'll start seeing that the adult education programs doing GED prep will start to get more students that are in this GED Works program. And what's great for you all is you will get more people in your classrooms. You will be able to get credit for the students when they pass, but you won't have to worry about putting any resources and spending money on their GED Ready testing, because that's all paid for. On their GED testing, that'll all be paid for by the employer, and they'll get access to curriculum. You can give them your own curriculum, obviously, too, but they'll have additional access to this other curriculum. So it's going to be a great way to get more people back in your programs, and this is just the start. Those were just the initial 4 employers. We've been talking to a lot of other really big employers who are really interested in joining this. So you'll see more coming on board. And if you all at your local programs work with any employers that are big in Texas, or even even local employers you think might be involved or might want to get involved in this and support their employees, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk with them. We're trying to get more and more, and we always welcome leads from you all that if you've worked with these employers and ways we can get them involved, because again, it's a win for everyone. It means very little for Walmart to have to pay for their testing, but that means so much for the student to not have to pay the money to take the GED test. And it's going to be a big win for everyone, because that student's then eligible to get promoted or eligible to do something else, and it's just a win-win for everyone. So this is going to be a really exciting program. You'll hear more from us, and we're looking forward to really partnering with a lot of the local adult education programs to get more people into your classrooms. So I do want to talk quickly about the improving outcomes and talk about what we're doing about really monitoring. I've talked a lot about improving outcomes, and we're committed to that, and I feel strongly that the GED program is going to by far have the best outcomes, and I want to show you what we're doing to really show that we do have the best outcomes. And so these are some of the research projects we have underway. We've already done this data match sample with the National Student Clearinghouse. So they have access to enrollment in post-secondary education. So we did a random sample of 10,000 GED graduates in 2014. These are students that graduated in 2014, and we were able to match to see if they enrolled in post-secondary education. And what we saw, I think it was in the high 30s of those students who were, at that point when we did it, were already enrolled in post-secondary education. So that was much higher than previously we've had for our program, and that was really exciting to see that, wow, all these students, and normally GED grads, they don't enroll right away. That might take them, a semester or two to go back to school. So this was exciting to see that we had so many enrolled, and we're going to continue to do that to monitor how our students are enrolling in college. We're also starting to do some think alouds around the extended response item. We're going to be sort of improving that, not the actual item, they'll still have to do evidence-based writing, but just how visually it looks on the screen and the cues we give the students to make sure they know they need to be writing a significant amount there, 4 to 7 paragraphs, 300 to 500 words, just so they have a better sense of what's expected on that. An exciting project is the longitudinal research group that we'll be doing. So we'll be monitoring students over multiple years and following them and seeing how they're doing. So we really have hard data on our GED grads, not only enrolling in post-secondary education or job training programs, but how do they do over the years when they're in those programs. And one of the issues we had with the old GED tests was that they weren't persisting and they weren't doing well. And so we know or at least we're hearing so far that they're doing much better. So we really want to be able to monitor that over many years and follow students to see how they're doing. And again, with the changes in WIOA, this is going to be so important that this is how everyone's funding is going to be based on getting students to make sure that they're be able to persist in a job or persist in post-secondary education. And then we're also going to be working directly with large national employers, preparing a large-scale employer survey, making sure that we hear how the GED credential is being viewed by hiring managers and HR professionals. If the credential itself is seen in a heightened status now that we've sort of changed and overhauled the program. So we're going to be doing that over the next year or so. Some of the other concordance studies that we're doing, just to let you know, we're going to be doing concordance studies with college placement tests. We have not done it with Texas yet. I know you have your own placement exam, but we have done it with AccuPlacer, and we're doing it with, we're also doing one with a crosswalk, what we're saying, with CASAS. We're not doing it with TABE right now because they're overhauling TABE and there are new ones coming out, so it doesn't make sense to do it with them. But we're also doing with other tests out there, making sure we have a crosswalk of the GED tests in those tests. The other thing that we have, a new cool tool that, or a pilot that we're doing that I'm really excited about is this Marty Kay. If you've met him, he's our head of assessment. He's doing it he's sort of leading this. We've partnered with a group out of Illinois that really looks at non-academic competencies. So these are a lot of times what we call soft skills. You will probably have that student who's really smart, but somehow doesn't bring it when they take the GED test. So there might be a motivation issue or a time management issue or some other issue. So looking at these non-academic competencies that are impacting our adult learners and seeing if we can address these two to really help them improve. So these will be skills like motivation, responsibility, confidence, resiliency, so that you as instructors can help address them in the classroom. And then I think these are skills that will help them not only pass the GED test, but these are life skills that they need to improve if they're going to be successful in life. So Marty has a pilot right now. So it's a 50 question test that a student would take. They would take this assessment, and then you all would get that feedback as instructors, and it would tell you these are the skills that the student is strong on, these are the skills that he or she is not strong on, and these are the skills you can work on. and it's just sort of a great pilot. I know I talked with a group in the Austin area who wanted to be part of it, and they're going to be part of this this study. If you all are interested, please follow up with me. We'd love to get you involved in this pilot. It's just a great way of really helping our students on the non-academic things, right? You can teach them, fractions and everything, but there are some other skills that our students need to improve on if they're going to be successful, and so we want to help them address with those. I will say, one of my other states that I work with is Pennsylvania, and one of my programs in Philadelphia was Temple University. They joined the pilot, and one of the instructors, he told me after he did that for a couple of his students, they took the assessment, that he knew some of his students had these issues, but he just could never really put his finger on it. And this really opened his eyes to some of the other things that they're struggling with, and they've really, he's really integrated that into the classroom of helping them with those skills, and it's just been a really great way for him to help his students. So the pilot is still going on. As I said, if you're interested in joining it, please email me. My email will be at the end, and I'll get you connected with Marty. It's really a great a program that we're going to be offering. So in summary, just all of that's based on outcomes, that we're really focused on making sure you all have the tools and the resources to help your students, and that the students are getting set up for success, and that in the end they're going to be competing against high school grads for jobs. They're going to be competing against high school graduates for spots in colleges. We really need to level the playing field for our students and help them and give them a leg up, and that's all of these tools and programs that we have are to do that. And all of the other tools that I haven't talked about, like the detailed score report, like GED Ready, like our portal, all of those tools are all the same thing. They're all focused on really leveling the playing field and help us and you all get the best outcomes out of your students. So again, you'll continue to see us monitor things, and we're going to have a robust research agenda to really help give you all some hard data to show that things are better for our students. I just wanted to put in a plug for some of the great professional development resources we have out there, free resources for you all, educators, resources for educators. So if you go to GEDtestingservice.com, if you go for the educators page and you click on webinars, you'll see what we have. It's this Tuesdays for Teachers webinar series. I know a lot of some of you educators in Texas have joined this, but if you haven't, they're all archived on our website. They're free. You can download the webinars, do them on your own leisure. It's Bonnie Goonan and Susan Pittman, who I think a lot of you know. They were doing a lot of sessions at COABE. They've been at your state conference. They're just incredible, instructors and facilitators of professional development. They're really great. They're the ones that lead them. And so we do one about 8 a year. So we did 8 last year. We're going to do 8 this year, and they're all archived on our website. So definitely go take advantage of them. It's a recorded presentation. You get the slideshow, and it's going to give you also resources like classroom strategies and classroom activities that you all can use. And this is something that we feel committed to at GED Testing Service, that we make sure you all have the resources that you need, the professional development resources you need to be able to help your students pass the GED test. So these are all free resources. Pretty sure, I think we're the only ones that have this out there. So I think definitely take advantage of them. I know a lot of you already do, but I just want to put in a plug for them because they are really great tools for instructors. Some just additional updates that I'll do before I open up to Q&A. Some of these are a little outdated, but I always want to make sure people know about them. We do now have the calculator reference guide and formula sheets are available for students when they go to their testing centers. So all testing centers should have received these laminated boards. If you didn't, by any reason, you should definitely reach out to me. But everyone should receive them late last year. So students, this is a change we made because we heard from a lot of you that the students don't want to pull up a window for the reference guide or formula sheet. They just want to look down on the laminated board. So those are available. We do have 4 GED Ready tests for each subject now in English, 2 for each one in Spanish. So if you thought there were only 2 in English, we definitely have 4 now, so students can take up to 4 that will be original. After they take a 4th one per subject, they will go back to one they've already had. So at that point, it doesn't become as predictive because they've already seen the items. we do now have the embedded calculator in GED Ready, and we have started an SMX text program. So as you can imagine, there are a lot of students who ignore the emails we send them, and they'd rather get text because that's the way they communicate these days. So we have started that program where students can opt in to receiving text from us. So if you do have students who are interested in that, they can do that. So just to sort of wrap up, there's my information, all my contact information. Feel free to reach out to me. But as I said, this is just a really exciting time for the GED testing program with all these new tools, the new cut score enhancements, and with the numbers going up pretty dramatically, people are coming in, and the outcomes that we're seeing, that we're hearing all the time that students are doing much better, they're prepared, they have the right skills. So it's just been a really exciting time for us. So we're really excited. So it's also an exciting time with all the new tools that we've come out. These are tools that I think are going to help you as educators too, but also the students, and their tools not only to help them pass the test, but again, what's so critical, not only passing the test, but getting on to that next step to a good job or going to college. It's the employer program we're also really excited about. It's so important to get the private sector and employers bought into what we're doing at the GED program. We're really glad they have. I think that's going to be a game changer, getting more money into an adult education system that really hasn't been funded, properly. And this will be a way to get more private money in to help offset those costs. The professional development resources, you have our commitment that we will continue to be there for you to make sure you have the tools and resources and the professional development resources you need. And then finally, most importantly, I think we're going to start to see, much greater outcomes for our students, that they're going to be, have much better lives because of all these new tools, and they're going to be able to finally get connected to the good jobs or go on to college. So with that, I will say thank you to all of you, but I will now go through all of the questions that we